These two pro gamers keep playing against each other, and you know what? Every time they face off, it is an absolute banger. It looks like at the very least this time around, we're not gonna see a proxy hatch at the start of this best of 5 series. As we're looking inside of the main base of Rogue, and it seems to me like this is a 15 hatchery on the low ground, or maybe potentially a pool first. His opponent though, another man who really thrives in chaos. We're looking at Hero's main Nexus. Hero going up against Rogue in a best of 5 series. This should be really, really fun. This particular match, it is from the GSL, so that does mean that both of the players are going to be trying their absolute hardest, because premier events are far and few between. And look at Rogue over here, actually checking out front to see if there's a potential probe or maybe a pylon already building right outside of his natural expansion. Clearly, Rogue is a little bit suspicious here. Can't blame the man. Hero really is capable of quite literally everything. It's gonna just be a very conventional build, though, for the both of them here. Gateway on the low ground, Nexus here at usually 20 supply, although Hero is gonna be cutting quite early. Yeah, look at that. 18 supply on that Nexus. Normally you go 20 Nexus, 20 Cybercore. Or 20 Cybercore, 20 Nexus. This is going to be 18-18. That means he's cutting probes for a while. He even got the gas going already. So worker production already has taken a hit. Hero's preparing for something specific. And I guess we'll have to find out why he needed to very, very neatly get all of this done ever so slightly faster. My main concern, right, with cutting that early game shenanigans is that for Zork, it doesn't really matter all too much, right? So if Protoss decides to go for an Oracle build, if it shows up like at 355 or if it shows up at 405, Zork is usually prepared anyways. So you have to be very specific about what you're meaning to do with this, because if you are cutting your own early game economy a little bit, yeah, obviously you might be able to deal more damage on the other side of the map, but you're also cutting your own economy. So therefore, yeah, it needs to be justified in some way or another. Just going to be Queens for now. I'm expecting to see Rogue take a third base here in a moment. He does decide to pull all the workers out of gas after mining 104. A little bit of a mistake. Mining 4 Vespene too much, but that's not really a big deal. It is just going to be a good old Stargate here for Hero, so nothing all too weird. Single Adept, second Adept. We may see a Stalker as well. Now I'm curious to see the timing of the third base. Usually you plant it down between 330 and 350. Now obviously this is played for a premier event. That does mean that we are not on the PTR, where we have some very significant changes made to the game. This is, at the very least, the tried and true strats that we're all very used to. Old Republic, though, as game number 1, is a relatively defending map, right? Like, it's pretty easy to just grab your third base here, and there's not really a whole lot your opponent can do about it. Third base is nice and tucked away, meaning that you can take it quite easily, and it doesn't accidentally reduce the attack path, for example, for your opponent if you do decide to take it early. Alright, first Adept got a single Zergling kill. Oracle coming up right now, and it is going to be a very fast third. Yeah, so 320, roughly, on that Nexus. So Hero is cutting corners left, right, and center. Only just now completing the wall off, no third gateway unit either. He's obviously already got that Oracle out, can't even afford the second one. He needs to start it now, though. There we go. I guess he had to wait for that pylon to finish up. But all of this is good. Now, Rogue does scout it early. I think the problem at this point, though, for the Zerg is that there's really not a whole lot he can do about it anymore. The door has closed for him to really be able to do anything about it, so he agrees and fires up 9 workers of his own. This will mean, though, that now we're playing a game of greed. Both players are going to try and play as greedy as possible. And usually, we're going to need a Spore Crawler over at the third. Usually, not only do we need a Spore Crawler at the third, usually, obviously, Zork has that larva mechanic, and they can just pull ahead so much quicker. You gotta be very careful with these games that Hero is playing. Twilight Council together with a Forge on the back of this. Is it just gonna be Blink? No, it's going to be Charge. Charge, I guess, with +1 ground attacks. Okay. I've talked about it quite a lot. Hero has been very, very fond of getting himself the Charge upgrade as his very first research. Rogue won't be able to really tell. He's not even going to see the Forge, actually, as he does decide to reroute the Overlord Scout. He does fire up a Roach Warren here defensively. But for now, Zerk is really just trying to power out workers. But look at the worker count right now. Protoss is actually ahead. Because of Hero cutting all those corners, and because of Hero just being liberal on the chrono boosts on the Nexus, he's actually economically ahead against the Zerk that opened quick triple hatch. This is the type of build that has very tight margins, a one little mistake, and you're probably gonna get overwhelmed. But Hero is not playing around anymore. Kind of crazy, actually, how fast he gets up to full 3-base saturation. Like about what is it, like 440 or sorry, 540 or so, 550? He's going to be fully saturated on 3 bases. I feel like sometimes it's very easy to just look at a game of StarCraft and be so almost like desensitized to how good players are. But if you compare this to where the average player is at, the average StarCraft player is just about thinking about taking their natural. You know what I mean? Like now we're on full 3-base saturation, Storm is coming up, loads of gateways, we're not even 6 minutes in. Rogue finally rounds out his worker count to also get the 3 bases up. He does have a 4th hatchery. Oh, and we're going for a good old Hydra Den together with a Spire. Look at the Spire over here. I have not seen this in a while. This is in the far bottom right-hand corner of the map. Hero's looking around for a potential Spire. Has he seen the Hydralisk Den? Not yet. Honestly, this is kind of a Hydralisk Den that is begging to be scouted because the Proxy Spire over here in the bottom right is unlikely to be spotted anytime soon. Seeing the Hydra Den may actually force Hero into like a false sense of security. Because he's going to make the assumption that this is going to be like Hydraling Bane. Yeah, he will see the Hydra Den, he will see it wiggling. That is indicative of it researching. So Hero right now will very, very unlikely be thinking about building any sort of like photon cannon inside of each mineral line. Yep. This would be the moment to go ahead and do so. And this Spire is being fully erected in the far bottom right, without the Protoss being aware of it. Should we be here for it? Yeah? Do we want to... Fine, we'll watch. There it is. Boom. I feel like that is the only correct verb to use, by the way, when it comes specifically to mutas. That maybe, or Spires rather, that are finishing up. We have an Archon Zealot High Templar push. You know what? Normally I would say mutas are kind of terrible at straight up fighting. There's only one Archon. Kind of feel like you might be able to go in right now with the mutas as a main army. Well, this hatchery is certainly toast if Protoss decides to target it down. Very weird build here, honestly, from Hero. Yeah, so he's baiting out the storms. My god, the dance is crazy, man. In the meantime, the roaches just got massacred. The storms and the zealots dealt so much damage. Archons are being morphed in, and you know what? Maybe the High Templar were not that big of a deal right there for the mutas, but the Archons certainly are a problem. This is an absolute disaster here for Rogue so far. So this is what Hero was cooking up. Cutting corners left, right, and center in the earlier stages of the game, just to squeeze out a few more zealots at this stage in the game. GG. Honestly, a really cool build from Hero. If you're playing at a high level on the ladder, and you want to have a strategy you can grind out, basically by playing against a very easy AI, right? You could just try that strategy out a few hundred times, perfect it. Okay, maybe a few hundred times is a little bit excessive, but theoretically you could perfect the build and then bring it onto the ladder. The execution is still extremely tricky, because your Oracle control and your adept positioning and all the rest of it has to be really, really good early game especially. But when it works, it seems to be very difficult for Zerk to hold. Okay, this time around, game number 2, we find ourselves on Tato's Citadel. Hero, yet again, sending out an adept here early on. He did actually send a probe scout out super early too. Look at it. It even took 5 minerals from the Zerk. Bringing it home as a, yeah, there we go. He probably expected to be welcomed back to the Terran or the Protoss base here, with everybody cheering, but nobody cared. Anyhow, he did get the 5 mineral trophy, and he did also deny the Zerk their natural expansion for a little bit. So, oh, can we get a drone? Ooh, we could get a drone. Eh, not quite. Eventually, the natural will be taken, but Rogue is forced to take a start base as his very first expo. Oracle number 1 will be spawning yet again, but notice the time of the clock right now. In the previous game, the third base was already up, right? Like, it was already building. This is going to be a more conventional one. So, Probe Scout early game, second gateway. We have probably a 20 supply Nexus and Cybercore yet again, although I didn't quite check for the exact timing, but there it is. 353rd Nexus. So this is the more tried and true version of effectively the same build. It does likely mean, though, that Hero's not going to be able to follow it up with as many charge slots early, because it's just not really going to work out for him. He's just not going to have nearly as many of them. Zerglings do get a wraparound. Oracle has to get around. In the meantime, some of the units did make their way. One of the Adepts actually made their way over to the third. And that's where it's going to die, but not without also taking out a single drone. I'm expecting to see a Twilight Council together with a Forge yet again here for Hero. Yep. At the very least, Twilight Council. Apparently, we're not going to go for a Forge. Ah, we are going to go for a Forge. He had the minerals for it previously, but apparently he didn't really want to build it already. Yeah, and I wonder if maybe that's his decision-making process, right? So we've seen Hero really mix it up a lot. Whether or not he wants to go Blink or Charge or Glaive the Depths or whatever. Maybe if he's being ridiculously greedy in the early game, that's when he considers Charge the better option. And when he plays a more conventional style, maybe that's when he considers Blink to be the superior choice instead. I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure Hero doesn't even really know either, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Hero just starts up these structures out of habit and then he just decides right about right now what he actually wants to be going for. Gotta keep the opponent on their toes. But indeed, this time around, it will be the good old Blink. Okay. Rogue unable to really get his feet under him so far in this match, by the way. Like, this entire series, I've been talking a lot about Hero, and I catch myself talking a lot about Hero. But really, Rogue has just not really been able to do anything. He's got a lot of Zerglings out. He's getting himself a lair, quick +1 melee. So he's making all the right choices so far. But this is what Hero always does. We're really only paying attention to him. It's also one of the tricky parts, right? Like, you gotta fight fire in StarCraft 2 with fire most of the time. The only player that I believe can just play straight up macro against Hero 9 out of 10 games is Serral. We've seen Serral win a bunch of times against Hero with exactly that approach. But nobody else really is at that level. And honestly, I haven't seen Serral play against Hero in a long time. So I don't really know if Serral is right now either. I'm not even really sure exactly how much Serral's playing, although I'm sure he's ridiculously good still. Serral never really participates in a lot of tournaments. Whenever he does, though, he tends to win them. But yeah, whenever we see other Zerg players attempt to just play straight up macro against somebody like Hero, it usually goes wrong for them. So now we have Blink, but we also have very, very quick Storm. Curious. So once more, we have a Hydralisk Den together with a Spire. This time around, we're not proxying it. In the previous game, proxying it didn't even really do anything, because even though Hero wasn't prepared... Oh my god, he's just gonna kill the Spore Crawler. Oh, jeez. It's like a mouse trying to kill a cat. How is that supposed to work? You just killed your natural enemy. Turns out if you have 3 mice, they might just be able to take on a cat. Hydra Muta. Last time I checked, it's not, well, 1998 anymore. Last time I checked, this is not StarCraft 1. A little bit weird. Normally we see either Mutaling Bane or we see Hydraling Bane. The combination of the two is a little spicy, a little weird. So even though Hero didn't really have any defensive capabilities at home in the previous game, because he was just in his opponent's face, so he did make a single photon cannon over here, and then also one over at the third, but nothing in the main. Ah, he's getting that going now. Okay, perfect time. Yeah, he's once more going to be prepared too. So, Hydraling Bane will be needed. We have a Spire, but the Spire is not really going to do anything. Hero's going to test the waters once more. This is far less committed, though, than what he had in the previous game, although he still is looking to deal damage. But he's got so many Storms. Stasis Ward in the back, not quite reaching. Banelings right now wandering into the High Templar. Ooh, almost an absolute disaster for Hero, although that was still suboptimal. He did not quite expect those slow banelings just to wander through it all. And this is a hold for Rogue. Those storms were supposed to be mixed in over time, you know? Like gently. Not all in one. Not all at once. Not all in one go. That's another High Templar sleeping on the job, so it will indeed also get denied. And that suddenly makes the game a little bit funky. Hero decides to go for the forward Nexus. Okay, we have +1 melee, followed here by +1 missile. Still a Spire that nothing has been built out of. Okay, Lurker then together with an Infestation Pit, so we're just making the transition towards Hive, it seems. Gold base up and running here as well now for Rogue. So Spires are a little bit cheaper now, but I find it kind of interesting to be building it, right? And just not really using it for anything. Ooh, pretty nice Stasis Ward here. New High Templar are available. Don't disrespect the Protoss army. Sure, a lot of expensive Protoss units did go down, but the cost efficiency has still been through the roof. Rogue does have a significant economy advantage though, but this fight positioning is not good for Zerg at all. Some nice Stormies yet again. Baneling's trying to go in around the site. They want to hunt down those High Templar yet again. Not going to happen. Hive indeed gets started up. Lurker then done right now, but Lair-Tech Lurkers are never that great. Zerg decides to go in for the big wraparound instead. Stasis Ward over there. Those storms in the back once more. We are going to need another storm. Do we have enough energy? I think we have not. Nope, and that means the High Templar die a second time around. And it's very likely going to force the Protoss to back off, or at the very least reconsider this attack. He has a 4th Nexus up and running now, though. Okay, we got a fleet beacon, or a fleet beacon rather, added into the mix as well. Hero really wants to kill this base. Gets another good storm. High Templar do decide to, well, turn into an Archon, but... is there enough Baneling damage here? A couple more Banelings are joining in. Hero actually so aggressive. Yeah, you know what? Look at the eco that he's built on the back of this. Once upon a time, this was 4.5 base Zerg going up against 3 base Protoss. But on the back of this, Hero has gone up to 81 workers of himself, and he's going to be able to go into a Mothership here. Mothership is just about perfect right now. Mothership with Tempest production? Yep, there she comes. 400 minerals, 400 gas. Normally, because you make such a big investment, and it takes a lot of time, we see Protoss players backing up. Hero instead decides to, well, check out if he can maybe deal some damage on the right side of the map instead. It does mean, though, that the gold base is going to stay alive, and the golden minerals will still give Rogue a bit of an eco boost, returning 7 minerals a trip rather than 5. So it does add up quite a bit. Range coming up as well, though, for those lurkers. Ooh, Hero, are you going this way? You've just made a Mothership. I think we can chill, man. Really? Oh my god, the Stasis Ward right there triggered just barely in time. High Templar do just get so close to the spines, but apparently they just don't get hit this time around. Zealots in the meantime charge through, and they will be able to kill the hatchery and then also 12 drones. That was a crazy decision, especially because Protoss made this huge investment into a thing that isn't even out yet. Well, there she is. Hero already got what he came for. Yeah, this man is so freaking dangerous. Ridiculous. I really thought that when he got his Banelings, or the Banelings, I guess, connected there with the High Templar the first time around, that Rogue was going to be able to really build up an advantage there. But Hero now maxed out. A much better army as well. Going full Skytles on the back of this. And while he's going up against Lurkers, and I don't think he can really break this open right now, I'm liking this position here for Protoss a lot. 4 base versus 4 base. Actually, a 5th Nexus starts up as well. He wanted to go and build one up north, but there's a Overlord putting a little bit of creep down. And in the meantime, Rogue kind of sits here, right? He's just kind of defending, but he's unable to really move out and do anything with the army. More. Oh, yo. Another disaster there for Hero. That's 14 High Templar that died in total this game. I can't believe it, man. Like, how in the world is Hero in this spot, right? Like, how does he even I feel like the game would be a lot easier if we take care of the High Templar a little bit better. Time and time again, though, Hero does this sort of thing. And he makes it work anyways, but these are extremely good hits for Rogue. And it's giving the Zerg player a way back into the match. This is the type of situation where the game can slip out of your fingers. Lurkers right now, look at them. Oh, so juicy. All of the Zealots trying to charge in, single file. Banelings now roll through the probe line as well. Maybe we should have blown them up a little bit sooner. Yeah, Mama decides to activate the cloaking, but in the meantime, the Zerglings and the Lurkers alike have killed the Nexus on the left. Hatchery in the far bottom left is also going to be rebuilt. Still, though, despite this disaster on the side of the Protoss, look at the supply count. Hero is still maxed, and his army is a banger, man. Like, he keeps replacing the High Templar. High Templar aren't free, but as far as spellcasters go, they're reasonably cheap. And despite the relatively sloppy control there with those particular units, the cost effectiveness here of the Protoss army has still been phenomenal. Furthermore, he's got 15 more mining workers than the opponent does. So even though Rogue is mass expending, or at the very least double expending, I'm still not really loving this position here for the Zerg very much at all. Look at the Zealot run by. I think that's enough, man. I think that's going to be able to kill a single base. We could have probably done about 10 of them and it would have achieved the job. Can't even get a full wraparound with that many Zealots. Yeah, they're gonna start bumping, look. There is an upper limit to the Zealot run by. High Templar in the meantime, joined with the Tempests. We need some Vipers with energy to be able to abduct those Tempests one at a time. Okay, another High Templar does bite the dust. Oh, even the Vipers are taking a bit of a damage now, but taking a little bit of damage to Spore Crawler likewise also. I guess we're gonna still abduct you guys. Yeah, there's a bit of a distraction happening in the meantime on the other side of the map with a Zergling Lurker run by, but kind of expensive. Stasis Ward may just not quite safe. The Zealots, by the way, are still going to town, but there's plenty of Lurkers set up to prevent that from really getting the job done on an additional base. Such a scrappy game. Obviously, it takes two to play a scrappy game, but it feels to me like action has been very much so on Hero. Hero has been pretty frivolous with the way he's using his army. And I guess if you roughly at least suspect that you have the bigger economy, or maybe he even knows, in a weird way, you become the race, yeah, that can just send it. This is crazy, though. This isn't really worth it, is it? In a weird way, we now have Hero Zerging the Zerg, right? Like, he's the one swarming the Zerg, because he's got the better economy. Normally, the entire mindset that Zerg players have is get bigger economy first, so you don't have to take cost-efficient trades. Just send the swarm. That's how Zerg players have been playing for a decade and a half. But Hero, I guess, has become the swarm. And he's become the swarm with better units. Because these units are balanced around them being expensive and being a little bit slower and all the rest of it. My only concern here for Protoss is that maybe he's being a little bit too frivolous, right? I guess it's just the best word. He's just spending his money like it's never gonna run out. He's living Protoss paycheck to paycheck when he really didn't need to be playing like this. It means that if he loses this army as well, Rogue is back in the match. Lurkers over here are gonna intercept the Zealot run by. Okay. Good bit of minerals gone. That's effectively like 2 Nexi worth of minerals gone, right? Like, that adds up pretty quick. Rogue sneaks out a hatchery over here in the far upper right. Still denying this base at the 12 o'clock. Oracles will now see indeed that there is nothing mining in the far bottom left. Hero's getting himself the +2 air weapons done. Really good upgrade, especially for carriers. No carriers available in this game, but at the very least it now becomes an option. And from basically playing a very Zergy style with Protoss, we have now arrived at a proper death ball. A super difficult army to control well, but one that I suspect can just waltz through everything Zerg. Still comes down to the execution, though. Rogue does not really have an army that can deal with this, I don't think. He's only got 1 Viper. Well, now he's got 3. but he's got no infestors. He doesn't really have the straight-up army to be able to deal with this type of army composition of his opponent. So, yeah, this is, I guess, always an option, right? When you don't think you can fight the opponent's army, go in for the counterattack. Maybe he will recall, maybe he will, well, decide to back off. Then again, this is Hero we're talking about. Hero rarely backs off, he rarely surrenders. A lot of the lurkers are dealing damage, by the way. We do need a couple of Stormies over there, too. He doesn't quite see it. Oracles finally get the Revelation down. Hero does lose a lot of troops. He's, I guess, a little bit distracted because of this run-by. Excellent moves here by Rogue. He needs to clean up this army, though. That's absolutely critical here for the Zerg player. So many probes did die, and the Nexus will fall as well. Bottom left-hand corner being resecured once more. Usually, Zerg will follow this up with a Corruptor transition. Mass Corruptor to try and suddenly swoop in and destroy the Protoss air units. Not going to happen. We get some good storms over here, but not enough detection available for, yeah, the Zerg to really get fully cleaned up. There's the Oracles with the Revelation ability. But that also now means that the counterattack forced the entire Protoss Death Ball to go back home. Rogue lives to fight another day. Ten Zealots coming up all at the same time. Immortals, bumped out 2 at a time as well. Did Hero just let this game slip out of his fingers? His gas count is no longer sufficient to really be remaxing with loads of, well, ooh, there we go, loads of Skytools units or many High Templar. So this has now gone from Skytools to some Tempest still up in the air, but mostly Skytools as like a supportive tool. It's a lot of Zealots once more, and if there's one unit that's really good against Zealots, it would be the Lurker. Rogue may just be working on pulling a rabbit out of a hat, man. He's the Zerg Magician. Keep in mind, Rogue never leave games unless he believes he's 100% out. Rogue is a fighter, man. He really wishes he could abduct a Mama ship right now, but that's no longer available to him. And that's one of the big problems with the Mothership that Zergs will run into. If you don't go Corruptors, how in the world do you kill it? How in the world do you kill it? It's got 23 kills all by itself. Here we go. This is when Protoss decides to commit. We need a Revelation, though. I guess we do have enough detection anyways. There's Observers up in the air. Hero gets the job done, but man, did he have to fight for it. Okay, and that will take us to Winter Madness. Match point right here for Hero. Even though Hero is up 2-0 on the scoreboard, it's not as dominant as it could have been. Right? Like, if you look at the games, it really feels like Hero was winning both of them with a landslide victory. Well, that first game was really spicy, but especially the second one really felt to me like he should have won harder than he did, if that makes any sense. He made it very difficult for himself, and that's the type of match that I do think is important to keep in mind. Losing that many High Templar and really making a bunch of weird blunders. It's the same as well with the Tempest positioning later on in the game, where they were just so easy to abduct. I thought for a second he was trying to bait out maybe the Vipers, right? With a feedback on the High Templar, but it wasn't really the case either. It should have been more dominant, if that makes any sense. But I mean, a 2-0 victory, or a 2-0 advantage in a series. Still not bad. All right, let's see. Winter Madness. Again, a very tried and true map. We are going to be seeing a brand new StarCraft 2 map pool very soon, so I'm actually excited for that. Seems like, well, at the very least of me casting this, we're in the final stages of finalizing the next map pool. Likewise, we're probably in the final stages as well of finalizing the new balance patch. So this may be one of the very last current patch series on the current map pool that I get to cast. Probably the highest level of SC2 we're going to see in a bit. Mostly because with the new patch and then the new map pool, every strategy is up in the air and nobody has any idea how to play it anymore. It's going to take a while before we will reach this level of stability, I suppose, but... Hey, I think we can all now conclude, though, that Hero really has been reigning supreme. Hero has just been better than basically anyone else out there. In 2026 so far, he's practically won everything he's participated in. And while he may be a little bit inconsistent from time to time, when he puts his head in a game, he looks to be nearly unbeatable. And I find it quite remarkable. I've been following StarCraft for a long time. And usually the way it goes is that there's crazy players and then there's like macro players, right? And usually whenever there's new strategies to be explored because of the new patch, because of the new balance, that's when the crazy players rise up. Guys like Hero have historically done really well at the beginning of a new patch. Then as the patch gets more and more figured out, that's usually when the dudes that treat the game like a spreadsheet, aka the Serals of this world, maybe the Max Paxes of this planet, right? That's when usually they will float to the top. Hero being this good in a very stable part of the game, when we have the most chaotic patch coming up really soon, I feel like 2026 may honestly turn out to be the year of Hero. I mean, so far it has been, but I feel like the next patch has basically all the ingredients of Hero dominating yet again. Although, again, the sky really is the limit. We have no idea what Protoss is even going to be like, or what is even going to be played like on the upcoming balance patch. At the very least, if all of the changes that they're discussing at the moment will go through. It's going to be difficult to predict. But yeah, Hero being this dominant as a pretty crazy player, right? As a bit of a madman in a very stable version of the game is very promising. Very impressive. Blink coming up. +1 ground weapons also once more researching. Spire in the meantime, yet again for Rogue. So he made that Spire in the previous game and then did nothing with it. So this time we're not apparently going Hydraling Bane together with a Spire. This time around we have Roaches, cancels the Glio Reconstitution. He must have seen something that he liked. Cancels the Roach Speed. That's gonna cost him effectively 1 Mutalisk. Glio Reconstitution is 100 minerals, 100 gas, the same cost as a Mutalisk. So I guess he just really wants to be making Mutas this time around. Yeah. Okay. Storm yet again. Good old Storm. Good old charge. Good old +1 attack. We do have Blink done though. So at the very least the Blink can get a little bit of work in, but gotta be careful here. Rogue sees the High Templar now. But he also sees that they don't have energy yet. And I think that's giving him a free pass to now go indeed into the Mutalisks. He fires them up immediately. Okay, good cancel. But this was a 5th hatchery. I would love to see these gases saturate immediately. Yeah, Rogue is gonna go mass Muta. I don't think we're gonna back down from Mutas for a while. I think Hero can either go Blink Stalkers together with Archons and High Templar and all the rest of it, or, and he may very well need to, he needs to go into Phoenixes. Look at that, +1 flyer upgrades also coming up. So Rogue is indeed going to be going more Mutas, and then more Mutas, and then more Mutas. At the very least, they can't be hit by a Stasis Ward, which he will be pretty happy with. But, yep, completely unexpected. Like, this is a problem now for Hero. He's also trying to take a base over here in the exposed location, while the rest of the ground army is trying to chase down the Mutas. Super easy for the Zerglings, indeed, to prevent that base from coming up. And suddenly, Hero is finding himself in a position that he's not been in this series so far. He needs to be defending now. Muta numbers are going to get so large as well that at some point, Stalkers don't cut it anymore. And it looks to me like Hero indeed wants to go into the Stalker approach. Not really respecting the Mutas very much. So Stalkers obviously take up a physical amount of space on the ground, right? Whereas Mutas, well, once you reach the upper level... Oh, High Templar! High Templar! Oh, huge problem here for Protoss. Yeah, Mutas can all basically occupy the same bit of airspace in one little spot, right? So they could all be clumped together. And there is this moment where Mutas will start winning against Stalkers, just because the Stalkers can't really all fire at the same time. They're busy bumping against one another. Once you go like 20, 25 Mutas or so, so right now there's 19, that's when the Mutas can comfortably start fighting the Protoss units straight up. And usually that would be a key, or a Q I guess, for Protoss to then transition on over towards Phoenixes. We're not doing it though. Hero is apparently doubling down. It's important as a StarCraft player to always double down on your mistakes. Never back up, never surrender. We have a Hydra transition actually here for Rogue. Rich Vespine gas guys are out front. Yeah, there is an argument though to be made that it's now too late. If you start making Phoenixes when there's already this many Mutas out, it may just be better to double down on your mistakes. But it's going to be so difficult to really get anything done now here as the Protoss player. Because every time you move out, Zerg will move in. Yeah, it's a good bit of static defense. And we have stopped making mutas now, right? There's so many Hydras, though. Wait a second. Is Hero just about to get absolutely crushed? Huge stasis ward being at least set up. There's potential there. Oh, beautiful poppage here by Rogue, who's now sending the Mutalisks back home again as well. Centrifugal Hook's not yet done, but that's the final storm. Stalkers will be joining together. Awkward fight, though, for Hero, who now basically lost all of his Templar before the main engagement. The Mutas were going across the map. Instead, they're thinking about maybe taking down some more of the probes. But this is now turning this push into an all-in, right? I mean, Hero doesn't really have much to go home to now. And this fight, I mean, aggressive blink forward. Archons do take a lot of damage. Loads of Zerg units are about to pop out of their cocoons, but is there even enough? Mutas decide to flap their little wings all the way back. This is messy, this is scrappy, but I think with the reinforcing Zerg units popping out, he's going to be okay. Still no 4th Nexus, though, for Hero. This is now 6 base Zerg versus 3 base Protoss. Apparently, this is what it takes. More High Templar. Oy, oy, oy. More High Templar. Get another one? Oof. 4 additional High Templar end up getting sniped. Hero smashing his piggy bank. He's been saving up for a long time, man. You wanted to get like a remote-controlled car or 4 High Templar. He decided to go with the 4 High Templar. Rogue just took him and trashed him onto the floor. Very rude, honestly. Okay. I think Rogue's next operation should be to try and deny this 4th Nexus. Just never allow the 4th. Hero's gonna bleed out. He needs to dig deeper. But I think he's just gonna throw it away. More High Templar, man. Hydras, in the meantime, are hitting whatever they can. There are 2 more Templar here. No Storms, though. And here's the next batch of Banelings. Yeah, so this 4th Nexus is not going to happen. And Hero is now 12 minutes into this game, nearly. That means his natural and his main are gonna be running out. His 3rd will not be far behind. Probes are being torn to pieces. Whereas Rogue still has mining for days. Okay. So, this is not gonna be the landslide victory that it was looking like, right? In the first game and in the second game as well. Maybe the second game to a slightly lesser extent. But Rogue is managing to get the job done. Throwing away a lot of units right now, throwing away a lot of lives. But this seems to me like Hero's final warp in. 26 probes die. And Rogue has, well, twice the amount of mining right now. GG. Ooh, it's been a little while since we've last been here. I won't even fast forward to minute 2, okay? Welcome to the Celestial Enclave. Still feel like I didn't quite get my settings right. What's this? Oh, what is this? Wait a second. So the Celestial Enclave, of course, does feature this little, yes, mineral-only path. Wait, what? What are we doing with the drone over here? Are we proxy hatching the main? No way, dude. If we're gonna proxy hatch, we proxy hatch over there. Is there space? Oh, he's gonna make a hatchery. 275 minerals. Is he not? Wait. What are we doing? What? That was some very intentional movement. Clearly Rogue thought that this was the safest place for the drone to go and hang out. It probably has to do with a normal timing on an expansion here on the low ground. Now, weirdly enough, Hero built his first pylon over here next to the main base, and then he's building the in-base expansion as his very first base. Normally, Protoss would go for the first pylon over here, and then the Nexus over here. So, this will vary. I mean, there's no way Hero's gonna scout it. Nah. This will very likely not be seen at all. Oh, hero? Ooh, he was checking over here to see if there's a proxy hatch in the natural. There is a proxy hatchery in the natural, but not where you would expect it. Drones going across. Rogue is doing a spine crawler all in. Oh, I'm getting nerd chills. This doesn't make any sense, and yet it does. This is some high-level dirt here from Rogue. It's kind of filthy. But I think I like it. Queen? Not yet. Okay, there we go. 3 spine crawlers coming up. And indeed a queen. And then Zerglings are going to be built. And you know what? Hero has no idea. Hero's just going Cybercore, double gateway. Whatever's going on here for Hero normally would have taken the highlight in his game. But I haven't even really been paying attention to what Hero's up to because he is in trouble. Yeah, we're gonna need a queen. That's the awkward part about this particular spot. You need to get creep up into the main base in order to actually root those spines. But already, this is a bit of a disaster. Brenda is gonna take a little shit right over here. And then, boof, we can go straight into the main. It is becoming critical now for Hero to make sure that Brenda can't poop, okay? But how are you gonna prevent it? There you go. The most important poop in this game. Oh, get it! Oh, he misclicked. He misclicked. Okay. So that's now gonna allow the creep to go up towards the high ground. Overlord here will indeed provide all the vision required. We have a Void Ray coming up here. Welcome to the clown show, everybody. Look at the Archons body blocking the units from being able to burrow. Spore Crawler was already produced, by the way. I love the fact that we have one of the spines here left on the low ground for a little bit longer. Yep, now he's moving it forward to provide protection for the 2 spines moving up to the high ground. Void Ray coming up. It's going to be out in just a moment. Zerglings in the meantime are tearing all of this apart. Did I just call the Void Ray an Archon, by the way? Did I just... I may have. This is a disaster. Hero is going to have a very difficult time cleaning all of this up. Maybe even an impossible time cleaning this up. A very unconventional strategy here for Rogue, especially bringing it out in a premier match right here is kind of crazy. But Spore Crawlers, Queens with transfusions. We have a shield battery trying its best as well. But in the meantime, the spines are just poking everything to death. Second Void Ray. Okay. Yeah, with double beams, he can actually get in quite a bit of work. More drones are being made over here. Spore Crawler moves forward as well. Queen's just hitting whatever they can. Keep in mind that Rogue only has 17 workers, right? Like, it's not like he's got a whole lot of economy to fall back to. We're going 2 more Proxy Spore Crawlers. Loads of shield batteries being set up as well. Prismatic Alignment activated. Transfusion activated again, too. Spore Crawler will be moving forward ever so slightly. Void Ray number 3 is going to be out in just a sec. The problem is every time you see a Spine Crawler poke, it's dealing damage, right? And that's just, it's a lot of damage over time. It's the same for those Zerglings. They're just left by themselves. Rogue is tightening the noose right now. Spore Crawlers, man. Usually they're the very best. Oh, we're gonna recall? Okay. Sick recall. Incredible recall, some might say. Spore Crawlers are usually best at defending against oracles and neteffects and all the rest of it. But in this particular instance, one of them has just burrowed inside of the opponent's main base mineral line. When's the last time you've seen that? I'm trying to think. I watched a lot of StarCraft. I don't recall the last time I've seen a Spore Crawler burrow in the opposing player's mineral line. GG. And that means it now all comes down to this. Final game in this best of 5 series takes place on Ruby Rock. Can Rogue actually complete the reverse sweep? He didn't start out in this particular series looking very confident at all. He just got punched in the mouth a bunch of times and he was like, oh, okay, I'll GG out. Right? Like, that was the vibe we were getting from Rogue. But especially in the match we just watched, Rogue took control, and he was not afraid to do so. And I feel like that's the real strength of Rogue. I mentioned it, right? He never gives up, and he's not afraid to play weird stuff if the situation calls for it, right? If he feels like it's the best thing to do, he's not afraid to go ahead and mix it up. Building a proxy hatchery on the other side of the map and rushing proxy spore crawlers when your tournament life is on the line? Yeah, not so easily done. Okay. One final game. Both players opening up very conventionally, it seems. This is looking like a good old 20 supply Nexus and Cybercore. None of that 18 supply shenanigans that what we saw on the Old Republic map earlier on in this particular series. There we go. So normally what you do is you go 20 supply Nexus, you cut a probe here, 20 supply Nexus, 20 supply Cybercore, and then you resume the worker production yet again. So that's exactly what we're doing. And all of this is extremely conventional. That's the type of thing, by the way, that's the type of thing. Almost forgot the H there. That's the type of thing that you do have to figure out again on the new patch. What is the most optimal way to cut a worker or two? Like, when do you do it? If you don't cut a worker, it just delays your expansion for a little bit too long. It's just something that's going to require a bunch of practice. Second pylon inside of the main base. 16 probes indeed. Second gas geyser. Okay. Hatch gas pool here for Rogue in the meantime. He's going to pull out of gas right now. Good Zerg players always pull out. That's the rule. Metabolic boost coming up right now for Rogue. Low-level Zerg players never pull out, man. I've seen a lot of viewers submitted games. I've seen what you guys do. I noticed you never do it, man. Cast the Gold League's level Zerg. Hatch gas pool. Drones never leave the gas until the end of the game. They'll just stay there until the gas runs out. It's crazy. All right. Can we build up the hatchery now over at the Thart? Shouldn't be that big of an issue. Stargate is going to be available in just a moment for Hero. And I'm guessing we're going to go Oracles just to mix things up. It's not an Oracle. Okay. We're going to go Void Race. Is this the right call, though? I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the Void Ray first build. Because the Void Ray on its own is unlikely to really achieve much. Like, the best case scenario for a Void Ray is to get 2 Overlord kills. Obviously, there are even better scenarios than that. But, like, the best case realistic scenario is 2 Overlords. Usually, it's just going to be 1. So, what's really good about the Void Ray is that you can, well, deny all scouting. You can take your third base pretty safely. And that does sound nice. But it's very expensive. And it just doesn't really gain value over time. If you compare it to an Oracle, you can still take the third base at the same time, but the Oracle has way more utility in the mid-game. You can use it as well, obviously, early on for harassment. So, like, is this Void Ray really worth it? It's very likely just gonna get 1 Overlord, maybe 2. And now you have negative EV, right? Like, it's just... the value of the unit is just not that great. This can basically do everything that an Oracle does. But worse. Well, it can kill Overlords, I guess. That's something an Oracle can't do. Just a curious decision. I never really like it very much. But, on the flip side, it's going to be pretty much impossible for Rogue to now scout. So, this could be one of those scenarios, right? Obviously, this is a big match. This could now be one of those scenarios where Rogue may believe that Hero went for a Void Ray first to try and deny scouting, and that means he's going for something cheesy. We've, for example, seen Void Ray first into, like, really quick double Stargate Tempest. That's been a build order in the past. Bit funky, bit weird. But it may be something that Rogue at the very least is suspicious of. Not the case in this particular instance at all. We do, by the way, get 2 drones, which is really good. The fact that that Void Ray just got 2 drone kills is actually kind of insane. I'm surprised that it managed to get that much work done. Well, that just suddenly makes this unit very much so worthwhile. And look at that, it gets 2 freaking Spore Crawlers as well. Oracle, in the meantime, also has been, yeah, dedicated to janitor duty, just mostly cleaning the floor. Incredibly useful, though. But, yep, because of this, because of the Void Ray first, it looks to me like Rogue is ready to send it. I guess we're gonna be loading all of the queens into a dropper lord, and then moving it across the map. There's a bunch of different flavors, though, of this particular Zerg push. There's a very all-in variant. And then there is a more, yeah, laid-back approach. We're going roach speed as well. So all of this is a bit disjointed. Yeah, we're also making 6 drones right now, so I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Rogue kind of hoping for, like, an overreaction from the opponent? Second dropper lord as well over here in the far upper right. Oh, hero sees the dropper lord. That's a big deal. Lots of roaches being made now. But Rogue just made a big round of drones. It's kind of weird. I feel like we're doing this like middle of the road approach now, where we wanted to go all in, but then we didn't really want to go all in, so now we're just kind of still going for it, but we're not really able to really do anything. Dropper Lord, by the way, died in the middle of the map. The one in the upper right has now moved into a position where maybe it can be used as like a ferry to send units into the main. Yeah, I think this was Rogue hoping for maybe an overreaction on the other side of the map. And you know what? Loads and loads of photon cannons coming up. So maybe the Void Ray is a mind game, but I think the Dropper Lord and the Overlord speed may also be used as a mind game here. 8 Zerglings indeed. Did sit inside of the Dropper Lord here. We're gonna probably send them out eventually. Now this push here from Hero, though, is becoming awkward, because now you've just invested, like, 800 minerals into, yeah, units that aren't useful, right? Like, we have got a lot of photon cannons here, but they're not really gonna be able to do anything. You kind of wish you had an additional 8 zealots with this particular attack. Hero's still gonna test the waters, but the supply count needs to be respected. Roach is going in around the back right now. Good first storm, good second storm as well. Stasis Ward is massive! Oh my god! I don't think you could fit more units inside of those. That's crazy. In the meantime, the Zergling drop has arrived. This is an absolute disaster, though, for Rogue. He's losing so many units because of the oracles, man. Even though we opened Void Ray first, apparently we don't care. Zerglings, in the meantime, inside of the main base haven't really achieved much. And those zealots have now been given free reign to go around and just tear up whatever they can until the roaches ultimately wake up yet again. He's sacking all of the zealots, though. Is this going to trigger a full-on counter-attack here from Rogue? 20 workers. 20 workers! Rogue has been knocked back to 2 base economy. And now suddenly making all of that additional static defense over at the 3rd base is pretty nice. Maybe now Rogue is kind of regretting going for that fake drop attack. Yeah. Bzz, 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 bzz. Save some of you bzz for the mineral line instead. 4 additional workers just to rub a little bit of salt in the wound here. All Hero really wants to do is buy time. He once more has become the swarm player in this game, right? Like, he is able to make more stuff than the opponent. Rogue needs to deny this base. Absolutely critical. And he will be able to deny this base. Yeah, ignore the probe, kill the Nexus. 100% the right call. Or you can just get everything. That also works. Dropper Lords and Aspire coming up here for Rogue. Rogue apparently is feeling like he needs to do something. We have a gigantic amount of Overlords, actually, moving on over towards that corner. I'm not exactly sure what the plan is with this little Overlord train. It looks kind of funny. Okay. I don't know, man. The Spire feels kind of desperate to me. He can make like 3 mutas. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not sure exactly what the plan of it is. I don't really see what you can do with it. Here we go, though. Big attack here from Hero, and this is a serious engagement now. Very difficult attack to hold here for Rogue, I believe. Plenty of storms available. Zerg army will need to retreat back home. He cannot afford losing this hatchery. He decides to dive through the Psy Storms. But this is where the new version of Psy Storm is really nice, man. It just lasts such a long time. Rogue is throwing away a lot of units just to try and keep the base up, but it looks to me like he will indeed be able to keep the base up. Fourth Nexus in the meantime, though, coming up as well. And I don't know if there's going to be enough Zerg reinforcements available to be able to put on any pressure on that new Nexus that is now coming up. And keep in mind, it's Hero here with the bigger economy, right? So normally we'd look at these fights and think, oh, that's fine for the Zerg, because Zerg has like 10 more workers. But now the opposite is true. Hero gets the new base up. Hero also wins the main engagement now that the Prism arrives. And even though that series started off in a very spicy way, or this series rather started off in a very spicy way, and then we had that follow-up with the Proxy hatchery, of course, as well in game number 4. It is indeed Hero who obtains the victory here. And he does so yet again, and I say this in every Hero cast, man, but he does so in the most Hero-like fashion. GG.